Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast, episode number 47. Excuse me. We have Chris Keigley here tonight. Hey. Chris brought some Iceland-made vodka where we pre-gamed a little bit. We had a couple of iced down vodka martinis, and Chris, I gotta say, probably the best vodka I've ever had in my life.
Well, you know, the Vikings are very proficient in the art of vodka. But I just want to say thank you, Len, for having me. You have more podcasts than there are presidents of the United States. Did you know that?
You know what? That's an interesting, what do you call that? Trivia knowledge point.
Right. I looked it up today, and I was like, who's the 47th president of the United States? And they're like, there are none, ass.
Chris Keigley is a vocalist, frontman, been around Columbus, Ohio for a long, long time. You've performed with probably everybody that
Right.
has been around for some time, and it's just a pleasure to be able to do this tonight, man.
The pleasure's all on this side of the table, Bob. I got to tell you. Hey, I wonder if we can have the production assistant, Steve, turn that. Okay, thanks, Steve. I just want to say that it's great, great to be here, and everything is cool. Yeah, I'm kind of what you said. Got to play with most of the better musicians in the city, and I would agree with that. But some people also call that a whore.
Some people might call that, but you've got longevity with a lot of these projects, man. There's longevity. You're not like skipping here, skipping there. You're making. I mean, just from what I've observed, you're making choices and you're giving it the best you can.
Right.
Is that accurate?
In all actuality, I phone it in most of the time, but I'm fortunate enough to be friends with musicians who are good enough to carry me. And I'm not making a joke. I'm serious about that. Like, I luck into these situations endlessly where I may not be the A-link, the alpha, but these other musicians are. And I think that all started, like I was saying earlier, with Nikki. I saw Nikki maybe 15 years ago, and she was in a band, and I forget the name of the band, and I apologize, but it was her, Richie Bear, and it was Steve Starkey and Steve's wife, Kathy, and I saw them at Cadillac Jack's, and I came out, and I was so excited to see a band. I made an impression on Nikki, and I became friends with her, and she recommended me to Matt, Sean Pruden, and Chris Wood, and that was called Long Gone, and that was like a 20-step leap over what I was doing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, and you're talking about Nikki Reber,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Fronting Radio City.
Yeah. Now,
today.
Yeah.
But what year did that introduction take place?
I believe it was 1842. They just had perfected the hot air balloon, and we had surveyed. We didn't know that you could defeat gravity, but apparently if you heat air, you could defeat gravity. So,
All right, man.
that happened.
But like, how long ago was that? I mean,
It was probably 15, 18 years ago. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I'm not looking for like accuracy.
Yeah.
It's been some time,
Right.
But you guys met, and she gave you this. Was that your first band, Chris?
No, I've always sang, not very well, but I always sang on the jobs, and like I'm a plumber, so people would always be like, "It's the singing plumber," and I'm like, don't hate on me. But anyway, I would sing these songs, and some people would like it, some people wouldn't, and I finally came into some money in my low 30s, and I bought a guitar. I bought a '69 Fender Stratocaster, and it was badass, man. It was white. It had the white pick guard, and it had the maple neck, And I used to try and play so hard. I'm awful. I have like webs on my fingers.
Digits.
But anyway, I would play in my garage, and my friend Darren Porter and his friend Scott, they lived up the street from me, and they would make fun of me all the time while I'm sitting there hammering on this guitar. And they were like, hey, man, why don't you come and let's jam together? And we got together and we jammed. We went to the Dolphin Lounge, and that's when Nancy owned it. And we got up there on open stage on Saturday nights, and we rocked it out, man. I mean, it was awful. Believe me.
But you did it.
It was awful.
But you were digging it.
Right. And Nancy used to tell me, she's like, oh, I used to wear a hat, and I would cover my face with the hat. I'm talking to Beth, is why my head's turned.
We had Beth.
But I would
Beth's
cover
here.
my face with my hat, and Nancy would be like, oh, that looks good. That looks good when you cover your face. I'm like, I'm not sure how to take that. But it's a true story. She was like, I like when you put the hat down on your face. But anyway, we did that for a long time. And there was a dude named Pete Conrad who hosted it.
I love Pete.
Yeah, Pete was the man.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah, he was the man, dude. I love that dude.
Mr. Beatles, right?
Yeah, yes.
The Beatle Project.
Yeah, and he would always, people would say, hey, you look like, and he would assume they were going to say John Denver. But every once in a while, somebody would say John Lennon. And he was like, oh, you said John Lennon. I fucking love that guy. Yep. But when you said John Denver, he'd be like, burr, 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 burr. Oh, and I got to tell you, I forgot about this. But there was a dude named Gary Wedland. And Gary Wedland played bass up there at the open stage. And Gary Wedland was amazing. He would write whatever key the song you were doing on, he would write it on the neck of his bass. So when you're doing the song, he would know what key it was in because he would look at the neck on his bass and do it. Anyway,
it's funny what you remember when you started
I know
talking
when you
about
started
shit.
talking about this, it brought up all those memories, man.
I know, man. That's good, but that's a good thing.
My friend, one of my oldest and greatest friends, Eric Cape, who is arguably the greatest guitar player I know, named Eric Cape. We would make fun of Gary because we'd be like, oh, Gary has all of his equipment in his car and he's driving around 270 just waiting for a gig. Okay. So bad.
Stop.
All right. I love him though. I mean, I have true love for this guy because we were a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You were dudes like going to the club, having fun. And Dolphin Lounge, man, that is like, I love that bar. It's so nostalgic and it's cool. You got the sunken bar and there you got the big stage with the big sound and, and it's you're getting your rock star, man. Right. And Nancy would come up and she'd be like, hey, they're not tipping. I'm like, what do you want me to do? You got to say something. You're on the mic. Yeah, so I would get on the mic and I'd be like, hey guys, thanks for coming out and supporting. What were we called at that time? I think we were called Double Ot, or maybe 440, which is the concert tuning of A. Yeah. But anyway, I'd be like, hey, thanks for coming out and supporting whatever crappy band we're in, and you're not tipping, so tip. Yeah, it's all good. That's what it's all about. You learned early. Right, you got to sell it, man. So you're doing that, but then you go to this show and Nikki Reber of... Oh, yeah. Nikki changed my life. Like, I don't mean to overstate her influence on my life, but she did. She, this was MySpace time, I think, and she messaged me, or I said, it's hard to remember because this was like a long time ago, but I want to say that the bass player or guitar player quit. Somebody quit. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a band. And Nikki swooped in like Superman or Marvel, and Captain Marvel. Superwoman. Superperson. Yes. She swooped in like Superperson and she said, hey, my ex-dude is looking for a singer. And I was like, who's that? And she was like, Matt. And I was like, Matt who? And she was like, Matt Bradley. And I'm like, who's that? And she's like, look in my friends. Yeah. So I looked in her friends and I found Matt Bradley and I messaged him on
MySpace.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, dude, my friend Nikki said that you were looking for a singer. I'm available if you're available. And he said, okay. And literally, this was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Literally, not figuratively, literally, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I sent him a message. And at 3 o'clock, he responded and said, okay, Sean and Chris and I will be there at 4 o'clock. So we go to my plumbing shop and we meet at 4 o'clock. And Chris Wood, who is a badass motherfucker, he brings his drums, and Sean Pruden brings his bass, and Matt brings his guitar. And we go up in my plumbing shop with no windows, and we fucking jam for 4.5 hours.
Good for you.
And we're playing, sorry, I keep hitting that. We're playing stump each other, and we can't stump each other. Sean's like, what about Mean Street? And Matt's like, and I'm like, at night I'll walk this stinking street, and I'm fucking killing it. And Chris Wood is killing it, and Sean's killing it, and Matt's killing it. And we do this for 4.5 hours. And Matt's like, how about Megadeth, as opposed to Megadeth. Holy Wars. And it's fucking killer. And I don't know that song. And I'm like, all right, you got me. But anyway, the point of the story is we formed a band that night, and we had never met. And in 2 hours, 3 hours, we formed a bond that was fucking unbreakable. It was Sean Pruden, Matt Bradley, and Chris Wood, and we formed a band called Fat Roommate, and we started booking shows. And we're booking shows, and we're playing. Sorry, I keep hitting that.
You're cool.
We're playing out, and we're killing it, man. We played Thirsty Whale. We played Two Rascals. We played Captain Jack's. Like, we're unstoppable. And then we go, sorry, I feel like I need to address you when I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
we go to Cambridge, Ohio, and we play this place called something upstairs. Cambridge, Ohio. Maybe it was called the Arena. I don't know what it was called. Anyway, we play this bar, and it's upstairs. And we carry all of our shit upstairs, and we play. And we do a couple Ozzy songs, and we get done. And it's like 3 a.m, and everybody's stoned to the bone, and we hot and sweaty. And I'm like, look at us. We're everything your parents ever warned you about. But anyway,
boom.
These two, I was married at the time, and I'm very faithful. But anyway, these two very attractive young ladies, they go, you sound exactly like Ozzy when you do Ozzy. And I was like, are you kidding me? And they're like, no. And I'm like, Ozzy's my hero. So.
You're good.
So.
Cheers.
I go, cheers. Radka vodka. The vodka preferred by douchebags.
It's trouble.
That's right.
It tastes like a glacier.
Yeah. They go, you sound just like Ozzy. And I go, Dago what? And I just found out what the slur Dago means. It's a slur against Italian Americans. Yeah. And I guess it's a shortening of the word Diego, which I didn't know Italians were called Diego.
I did not.
Anyway, back to the story at hand. They say, you sound just like Ozzy. And I'm like, well, man, that's cool. And I go, let's do an Ozzy tribute. And Sean Pruden and Chris Wood say, nope, we don't want to do it. We're not going to wear wigs. We don't want to do an Ozzy tribute. So I'm kind of bummed, because this is like, I'm looking at it as like, that's going to be my ticket to awesomeness. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I'm like, that's going to be my ticket to awesomeness. So they decline, and I go home, and I get on the phone, and I happen to have Gino Arce's phone number, who's a killer bass player. I mean, don't get me wrong, he can't play bass, but he's killer. He looks good. He looks like the pirate guy.
He's still out there, man.
Yeah, I know.
He's doing stuff.
Fucking love that guy. I text him every once in a while.
That's cool.
Anyway, I text him, and I text this drummer I know, who's my neighbor, Kyle Severin. Kyle Severin is a badass metal drummer. He's been in the band Incantation and whatever. If you Google his name, there's like 400,000 hits. Anyway, not name dropping.
Yes, I am.
But we formed this Aussie band, and it's effortless. It's like literally 2 phone calls, and I've got this Aussie band. So we start practicing, and it's better than you could possibly hope for. We're doing Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman verbatim. And what's the live album? Speak of the Devil. The live album is called Speak of the Devil. So guess what we called the band? You're right, Speak of the Devil.
Ooh.
So
I was going to say that.
Yeah. We call it Speak of the Devil. And instantly, he passed away right now. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but I can't understate the help that, what's his fucking name?
Local guy?
David.
You talking about guitar?
No, David Spiegel.
Oh.
Dave Spiegel. I'm sorry that I blanked on his name. He passed away about 2 years ago. But Dave Spiegel picked up this Aussie band and he just put it out there. And man, we were playing everywhere. We played West Virginia, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, anywhere that wanted an Aussie band. Dave Spiegel booked us there. And it was killer, man. We were making killer money. I brought these set pieces. Great. Real quick. I used to do these, I used to build these big set pieces. Like I had like a castle built and I had these men in armor set up because we were doing the Aussie. And one time I had this idea. I was like, I was dating this girl named Michelle at the time. And I was like, we could have her dress like a nurse and bring a casket up to the stage. And she brought a casket up to the stage. And I was on the stage underneath a black tarp. And I stood up and like they set the casket up and I was like going to break out of the casket. But I did it. And the microphone stand, I hit it and it cracked some woman right in the face. It was awful, but awesome at the same time. So anyway,
I can't imagine that happening to you, man.
yeah, it was something else. But anyway,
Oh man. So how long did that run? Or was that like a spotty type?
Speak of the Devil was
Shows.
the force in Aussie tributes for probably 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was killer. But
So you're no longer in the Sean Pruden, Matt Bradley band at that time.
right.
Okay.
It was not
long gone.
Sean. Yeah, it was not long gone. Like we
Yeah.
broke up right after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You focused
Sean
on this stuff.
Yeah, Sean was doing open stages, and I don't know what Chris Wood did, but man, I got to say, I respect Chris Wood. That was a dude that you could mention a song, and if he didn't know it, he would sit and think on it for a second,
Yeah.
and then he would be able to play it verbatim. Killer.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then, right after that, right after the Aussie tribute, well, that went on for like 7 years, like I said. But then it got kind of tired. You know what I mean? Kyle Severin, who's my friend, the drummer, he would always, it was awful to me because I'm a joker. I like to have fun and play around. And we would watch videos of our show every Monday at practice. And he would point out all my mistakes.
Just you?
Just me.
Nobody else.
Right. Because nobody else made mistakes.
Stop.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Kyle. I actually do, man. I actually love Kyle. He is the best dude. But he was real.
Yeah.
And he would say, hey, man, bar band. And that was his saying. He'd be like, that's bar band. That's bar band. And I was like, you're right, but I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And eventually he quit the band because of that. Because he thought it was beneath.
You weren't on the same
Right.
wavelength.
If you're having fun, the
Right.
audience
There were significant differences in his mind.
Right. And I understand that. You want to be respectful to the music, but to me, I also want to have fun.
Right.
So, he was right. I'm not mad at him at all. I love that guy.
Right.
But he was right. He would say bar band, and I was, I'd get mad at it, but so eventually we replaced him with another drummer, Mr. Rick Bartolino, and Rick was awesome, and we would do the Aussie band, and it was killer. And we continued on for many years and had lots of fun and made lots of money, and everything was cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And then it ran its course.
Yep.
You know, you can only do a tribute so much.
Well, honestly, man, you can only do something for so long.
Right.
I mean, that kind of speaks to anything in life, but it's definitely the case with music, right? I mean,
Right.
there's a initiation, that hype, you know, big energy, and you run as long as you can.
Right. That's like when I have sex with a broad. You know, after 12 hours, they're done.
You know,
They're done.
I'm looking at Beth, right? Beth.
I just had to say that to be ridiculous.
No, I mean, dude, I know, right? I know you, but Beth is like.
I'm trying to think of what is the most wrong part of that statement.
I heard
There's so many.
I heard the
many
commercial
parts.
on the radio today for erectile dysfunction, and they're like, "You can have sex for over an hour," and I'm like, "Who wants that? Who wants that?"
Certainly the woman does.
I don't
Certainly
think,
not me.
I don't know that it will. Yeah,
Certainly,
woman I know.
certainly not me.
bust and go to sleep.
Right.
I think the Viking is saying,
Right,
Chris, you are a Viking.
right,
I mean, literally a Viking, right?
right. 12% of me.
How do you know 12%?
Well, I did the Ancestry.com, and they said that I am 12% Viking, and that's like I didn't even latch on to the 33% Sicilian or the 40% Irish. I don't care about that. What's important to me is the 12% Viking.
Viking.
So
Yes.
yeah,
you know,
that's something to be proud of, man.
right, Swedish and Norwegian, and I'm happy about that, and I embrace it, and it's whatever. It doesn't really matter, you know.
But it's good to know these things about your DNA.
Right.
Right?
Right,
Good for you.
right. Did not arrive. That's what DNA stands for.
Now you know the 12% because you did a cheek swab.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I was going to do the 23andMe, but I heard they're a little sketch.
Well, yeah, they had like a
Data
a
breach or something, yeah.
and it just who wants that out there, man?
Right. The Ancestry.com, the thing I like about that, this is an unsolicited plug, but the thing I like about that is they tell you the actual date that your ancestors came to America, and it's all backed up by the registries from Ellis Island. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, what other so go popping back to your music, right?
Music's not important.
Your Aussie tribute had a great run.
Right.
Did you hang out for a couple, or did you jump back into something else? What's going on?
Okay. After the Aussie tribute, I joined. How do I say this without being a douche? I joined a couple.
We're talking to Chris.
Throwaway
we're
bands.
talking to Chris
Okay,
Keigley.
this is truth. This is truth.
And so you're going to speak your mind.
Right.
It's not going to be polished.
Right. I love everybody.
Yes.
I love everybody. I truly do. But I joined a couple bands that were just there. And there was a band called Vodka Rocks. And I love Azelle and I love Phil. I love those guys. But the drummer in the band, I did not love. And I joined that band, and instantly, this guy was giving me attitude. Like, he was like, "Oh, I played the Alrosa." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. So did my sister. Who cares?" And he just constantly gave me attitude about it.
Really, Chris?
I swear to you. He constantly gave me
two type
attitude.
A's banging heads.
Well,
in
it
the
wasn't
band.
even type A's. It was just a
was just
simple
attitude.
It was just simply
That's
an
cool,
attitude.
man.
And he was just like, "I'm so famous. I'm the drummer in this band."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you? Are you really?" So
He is. He
Yeah.
was in that situation.
I booked us a bunch of shows. We opened for Dirty Side Down at Sam Levy's place. What was that called?
Was it Slapsy Maxie's?
No, it was. Anyway, Sam Levy's place. We opened there, and the drummer was giving me attitude about having to play Keith Cossen's drum kit. And I was like, "Dude, you can either set your drum up or his drum up." So anyway, we got into a big argument, and I got fired. Plain and simply, I got fired.
You got fired for drama.
I got fired for drama.
Okay.
I love Azelle and I
Yeah.
love Phil,
Oh, yeah.
and we have no issues.
Yeah.
It was totally the drummer.
It just wasn't the right situation for everyone, right?
Right.
So you move on.
Right.
Yeah.
So next,
So where'd you go, man?
from there, I joined the band Taser with my friend Ty Barnes and Sean Hader, and James was the drummer. James and I did not get along. A drummer problem. James is an engineer at Honda.
You know, that's classic lead singer scenario.
Right. Lead singer
with,
disease.
With drummers
Right.
in particular.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just throwing a,
I respect James, honestly. He's an engineer at Honda. He's a great
awesome.
guy.
He's awesome.
But we just never connected.
Okay.
Never connected.
happens. We don't do last names.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name. It does. It's not important. He's a fucking drummer. Who gives a shit?
Same face. Yeah.
Listen,
Jokes. It's all jokes. It's all jokes.
It's
all jokes.
It's trying to see if something's right.
Right.
It's like dating.
And just like Ozzy's
Sometimes
book.
it works, Chris. Sometimes it doesn't.
What are you talking about? Everything I've ever done works.
Everything.
It's all perspective. You know what I mean? My perspective is different from your perspective.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, James and I didn't get along. So eventually, there was a song by Alice in Chains.
Man in the box.
Whatever that song is.
Man in the box.
Yeah. So apparently, the band thought I wasn't doing it correctly. And I thought I was.
But you probably weren't.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. I wasn't doing
Again,
the right key.
your perspective versus someone else.
Right, and I totally accept that. So, I mean, I just think I nailed it. But anyway,
Of course, dude.
so they call me. Actually, I'm going to call him out because we're friends and we're way past it. But my friend, Sean Hader, he calls me and he's giddy on the phone. He's like, dude, we're going to go another way. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you're fired. We're going to go another way. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not mad. I love Sean. He's a great dude.
He is a great dude.
He is a great dude. And it was right for the time. Because to be honest, I didn't put any effort into that band at all. I would learn the songs. This is a douchebag thing, but it's true. I would learn the songs on the way to the show or on the way to practice. And you never learn the songs at practice. That's a douchebag thing, but I did it because I was like, whatever. I'm fucking speak of the devil. Eat my dick. I'm the king.
Right.
But
You're a Viking.
right. So hold on one second.
And you wrestle bears too, don't you, man?
Well, allegedly, but that is seriously what happened. And I don't hold any malice against those guys because they made the right decision. I was not committed,
Right.
and I didn't hold up my end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not on the same page.
Right. We're
Different.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I took a few months off
Good for you.
and I just chilled for a minute. And then I had an idea. I was like, wait a tick. And I said, let's do a country band. And I talked to my friend, Eric Cape. And I was like, hey man, listen to these songs. What do you think? He's like, yeah, they're cool, but they're not my bag. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then I talked to John Van Meter and sorry.
Dude,
I
you're a Viking, man. You're a Viking. You're a Viking.
I talked to John Van Meter and Todd Bettler, and we met at Fender's, and we were like, let's start a country band. And we did. And we started Tailgaters. And we came up with the idea, and it was fucking awesome.
Yep.
And then we called Scotty Kassan, and then somebody, I think it was Craigslist, got a hold of Scott Dunn, and it was Scott Dunn, Scotty Kassan, Todd Bettler, John Van Meter, and me. And we practiced, and we practiced at my house. And I had a big table, and I used to make like fruit things out there. I would put like strawberries and like dip and like stuff like that at practice. Okay, but anyway, back to the story at hand. We practiced for 7 months.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was killer. I loved it. It was the finest time. And one time, I had a Newfoundland and a Border Collie, and they jumped out through my front window. And those guys helped me find my dogs.
Oh my God.
Like we're driving around the neighborhood looking for my dogs because they jumped out through the screens. And those guys effing helped me find my dogs. Anyway, we found my dogs, and we became tailgaters.
Right on.
Our first show was at Sam Levy's place.
Was it?
Why can't I remember what
Was
it's
it
called?
Bottoms Up?
No, it was in the
Sam
Continent.
Levy. Oh. The Continent had a lot of different
Yeah,
renditions of various places.
yeah,
But we're not going to rack our brain trying to remember. I mean,
yeah. It
unfortunately,
hurts.
there's so
It
many.
hurts, but it's okay. We played there, and it was killer. John's niece or somebody had her birth or her graduation there, and there was so many people, and it was killer. And Phil from Turtle Creek was there, and he was like, "Man, I like you guys."
Well, dude, at the time there was no country
Right.
projects
What
for
year?
miles.
Yeah.
What 20?
O'Shecky's.
Oh, boom!
Bam.
There you go. There it is.
Yes,
Yep.
O'Shecky's.
Yep.
So yeah, there were no
It was
country
a great.
bands.
That was a great place.
Yeah.
It was.
No country band. And Phil happened to be in the audience, and he saw us, and he came up to me after the show, and he was like, "Man, you guys are great. Would you play at Turtle Creek?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So Turtle Creek built a new stage. We were the first band to ever play on Turtle Creek's new stage.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And Phil was awesome and treated us great, and we killed it. And that I cannot even express how awesome it was to be in Tailgaters. Tailgaters was arguably the most prolific thing I ever did, because people would call me. It'd be like Sunday afternoon at 2:00, and people would be calling me. They're like, "Hey, do you want to play this festival opening for Low Cash Cowboys?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" "Hey, do you want to do this?" Oh, and by the way, when we opened for Low Cash Cowboys, they came out. The actual band came out and recorded us playing "Dust on the Bottle." They recorded it on their phones. I was like, "Man, what is better than having a real band record you doing a song?"
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
That's
But anyway,
right.
yeah.
So what happened?
Well, Tailgaters had a great run
Yeah.
in Columbus, Ohio.
We played
Great run.
almost every weekend for 7 years.
Right.
Yeah, and it
And
was
you were
great.
playing all the places.
Every place,
Yep.
as much as they could, as much as they would take us. We're like, "Oh, do you want some more?" And they're like, "No." We're like, "Well, come on, have a little more." They're like, "Okay,"
Because the crowds were there, and you had people dancing and having a good time, and blowing off steam from the work week. It was
Right.
it was a great country band.
Right.
It
It was a party band who happened to do country songs. And we got unbelievable amounts of crap about doing country. Scotty Kassan and John Van Meter were the guitar players. And Scotty Kassan was amazing, or I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Kassan, whatever. But it was amazing to watch them. There was a Keith Urban song, "Who Wouldn't Want to Be Me?" And it starts off with that. Killed it every time. But I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was great.
It put a smile on your face
Right.
as the front guy, right? Like
When I
you're
would
just-
watch
you're
them,
digging
I'm
what's
like
happening.
standing there like, "Is this real?
Right.
Is this real?" They were phenomenal, man. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we did that for so long. And then John Van Meter got a call from Mike Wharton. Fuck you, Mike. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mike. I love you, Mike. He got a call from Mike, and he said that they were looking for a new guitar player in the Divide. So John left to go join the Divide, which I don't blame him. The Divide was awesome. I actually tried out for the Divide 3 times, but I was drunk. I know you find it hard to believe. But it's
I can't-
true.
Dude, I can't imagine
Yeah.
you even saying that, let alone it being truthful. Is that really the case?
That's the case. And there was a Jason. This is the real story. There was a Jason Mraz song, and it was like I can't remember what it's called. His only song,
Remedy?
but there's like 4 versions of it, and I'm pretty sure that I learned the wrong version of it.
I'm sure you may have.
I might have been in Vegas the day before,
Something happened over there.
Let's just say there were extenuating circumstances which were detrimental to my being able to fulfill my needs as the frontman of the Divide. Anyway, long story short, those guys were cool as
Great
hell.
band, though. The
They
Divide
were
was a great
cool
band.
as hell.
Yep.
They are my friends, and they are my friends to this day. And they were cool as hell, but they declined to go with the Chris. Let's just say they passed on the Chris, and they went with Kyle. And Kyle's a badass motherfucker.
Yep.
And I respect that dude, and it was awesome, and it led to many beautiful things. Anyway, by the way, I
found
remember
another-
John Van Meter. Did you ever see John Van Meter's guitar when he put the LED lights on it?
I in the Divide.
In the Divide, yeah. That was some badass shit, man. He put LED lights
He's a
around.
force, man. He's a wizard
Yeah.
in many aspects.
Brad Moore now? Lost Place?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't mean to blow the guy, but he is like got that brain where he and I did a few acoustic shows, and he's playing tambourine on one foot, and he's switching pedals with the other foot, and he's singing, and he's playing guitar. I mean, I can't express enough like how I couldn't do that. It's like a departmentalized brain. He's amazing.
Yeah,
and I mean that
he's a
sincerely.
Force. He's an incredible talent that is a joy to watch, and he's a rock star.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love when he gets drunk and he acts like me. That's my favorite part.
We went to go see Lost Boys recently, and I did have an opportunity. I haven't seen Johnny V in a while.
Yeah.
And I invited him to do a podcast episode, and hopefully he's got an open invitation. Obviously, he's just good.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that.
I'm glad you came, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I'm glad you're talking about like Johnny V.
Oh,
and
man, all
your,
these
your
guys-
joy with him and others. Like
It literally
you've
was-
really played with a lot of people.
It was completely a great experience. And Mike Wharton, man, Mike Wharton and I have tried to get a few things together. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Mike is a great drummer, man. Like you see him and you don't appreciate how awesome he is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you have to play with him to hear how great he is. And there's another dude, totally different and completely off, but one of my favorite drummers. I have a lot of favorite drummers, but one of my favorite drummers is fucking Zig from what the fuck's that band called? Red Light Go. Red Light Go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Zig is amazing, man. You watch him. He filled in with the Tailgaters a couple times,
Yeah.
and he's not a country guy. Never heard it before. He jumped in, nailed it, and also drummers, man. In my opinion, singers don't get mad because you play guitar.
It's all good.
Singers and drummers make the band, dude. I'm telling you.
Totally agree.
Yeah. If a great drummer will make or break your band.
Yep.
And if the drummer's fast or slow or lagging or lazy, your band's going to be awful.
Yeah.
If your drummer is great and your singer's great, that's the key to success right there.
Yeah, and right behind that, in my opinion, Chris, is the bass player. Rhythm.
Yeah, I don't care about bass players.
And then you got to have a hot guitar player. Got
Yeah.
to be, or two.
So I would tell you that the drummer and the bass player, if the drummer and the bass player are in
Synced
sync,
up, yeah.
The rest is gravy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you got a
Gravy.
decent singer, right?
Right.
But the whole bottom rhythm section, it's got to be driving it.
Yeah.
Right. Without a drummer, you're lost.
That's great insight, man.
Yeah, I've had some awful. I mean, I don't mean to call anybody out, but I've had some awful drummers, and it's just it's arduous, you know.
Everybody's out there trying to do the best they can,
Right.
and you kind of, and then there's just a million shades of gray of differences and what's important to each person. It's like dating. It's like, you're dating maybe 3 to 5 people at the same time.
What's dating like?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Okay. That's another podcast,
Right.
That you and I,
That's not musician related.
guys
but,
like us, but look at us today, baby.
Right.
Look at you, dude.
Right.
While we're talking about that, real quick, I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you.
You know, how long have you been married?
22 months.
That's so great.
22 months, 18 days, 5 hours, and 13 minutes.
And you're still in the honeymoon,
Right.
which is awesome.
I got to tell you, man, no one on this planet is like Jessica. She is literally the sweetest, nicest, most kind, beautiful person I've ever met. She is ridiculous, man. She will fart in your face and make you happy that she did it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yes.
Love her, man. Love her. Absolutely love her. And she's beautiful, man. She calls me every day and she goes, "What color makeup do you want me to wear?" I'm like, "I don't know." But every time she wears it, it's awesome.
Good for you. And
Yeah.
good for her.
Right.
And she's smiling.
Right.
And we see it on Facebook.
Beautiful
Because
smile.
Facebook is the window to what's happening.
And it's all real. It's all 100% real.
you know, you wish.
Right.
So, okay, Tailgaters had a great run.
Right.
Where are you going from there, man?
Right now, I'm doing a lot of acoustic stuff with my brother, Ty Barnes, and my brother, Grant Gilkey. But I'm trying to get this beaching band together, man.
I'm good.
I'm trying to get this beaching band together, but I'm having a hard time finding a bass player.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
What kind of bass do you require?
I want the concept behind beaching is no worries, fun, like Kenny Chesney, like Old Dominion, like nothing too heavy, nothing too loud, just fun, relaxing beach music, man. Like I want to play as if you're at a resort, and I don't want to be boring because we're not boring, but you know what I mean. I want to be fun and I never want to play Crazy Bitch again in my life. And I don't have the angst to play Rage Against the Machine. I just don't have it anymore. It feels unauthentic or inauthentic or whatever. It's just not me. I'm not angry, so I can't play angry songs.
You're different today,
right?
So you want to
Share my happiness.
right on.
Right.
Yeah, I got it. We can toast to that. Thank you.
Right.
And
Cheer.
I think that's a very marketable project, man. I mean, you've done everything that you've wanted to do, have you not?
I have, and like I don't want to say anything negative about anybody, but when you're in your when you're in your 40s, 50s, and you're up there doing Judas Priest or Megadeth, or do you really have that? Not Megadeth.
I heard you.
Very different. But
Are you
you're right.
Do you have that angst? Do you have that teenage angst?
That'd be
or
like
is it inauthentic, or is it? You know what I mean?
I
Like-
think you just want to do songs that you like.
that you
and
map
speak
to,
you.
that's natural,
Right.
that you relate to, and that you're going to put every ounce of passion you have
Right.
genuinely into. And the material has to be right with everyone who's involved, right?
So
Right.
like if you could pick one song right now to do, what would it be that speaks to you?
It would probably be Midnight Mess Around by Old Dominion.
All right.
Right
And
on.
it's a great song. It talks about that this guy meets a girl and they go and they hang out and they just go mess around. It's like a little midnight mess around. And I love Brothers Osborne.
Yeah.
And actually, man, I like pop music a lot.
Yeah.
I like a lot of pop
You
music.
like Taylor Swift. Don't
I love Taylor Swift.
You're a Swiftie.
Love Taylor Swift.
You're a
I am.
Swiftie.
100%.
I don't listen to her music, but I have two brothers and I have two sons and I have a nephew. Like it's all testosterone.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had, but I have three beautiful nieces. But I haven't had the opportunity to really bond musically with my nieces, and I haven't had an opportunity really to listen to Taylor's. But I respect her as a business person, and
Right.
I respect what she's doing.
It was a boss move for her to
Yes.
re-record her albums. She took her albums from Big Something Music, and she was like, I'm going to re-record them and make the money myself. Yeah. And that's a boss move. Yeah. And I don't know why people disrespect her.
I don't either.
You know, and a lot of people say, oh, it's all about her breakups. That was 20 years ago. Listen to her current stuff. It's amazing.
I actually, can you hear me? I actually read somebody who's upset about the whole Kansas City Chiefs thing. And I work for a bank out of Kansas City, so I know more about the Kansas City Chiefs than I ever thought I would. But it's like people that are so upset with what she's, I'm using air quotes, doing to the NFL. And somebody posted, she just wants the publicity that Travis Kelce brings her. I'm like, what?
She definitely does
not need the publicity that Travis Kelce. If anything, vice versa.
Didn't somebody say that, like a quarterback? I forget. Yeah. Somebody said that. It's
it was Brett Favre.
Yeah, Brett Favre was like, it's a money grab. I'm like, are you
retired?
I don't want to use that word.
No, he's retired.
Yeah.
He's just trying to,
pop
back up.
Before I forget,
Bless
I want to
his heart.
say something real quick about a drummer. Okay. I was in a band with a drummer, and we didn't get along at first. Okay? We were like, not really at odds. That's why I saw that. That's why I wanted to say it real quick. We were at odds a little bit because we had an altercation like 10 years ago. But I want to say that Jason Levitt is the man. He stood up for me in a way that I don't think many people would. I made a joke at a bar, and I got us fired from a very lucrative gig, and I got us fired. And he stood up for me. He was like, that's just him. He's just making a joke. Don't hold it against us. Right. And I told the bar owner, I was like, it's just me. Don't hold it against me. But anyway, Jason, took it and didn't get mad at me and didn't hold it against me. And man, I just got to say, I respect that so much. That dude, whatever problem I had with him in the past is in the past because he was the motherfucking dude. That's my dude right there.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear, man. And I think that the support that you find with people that you have good fortune to play music with is a gift.
Right.
And for you to have that level of support is a gift, man.
Right. And not everybody does that. He didn't have to. He could have been like, hey, douche, you got us fired. But he didn't. He was like,
stood by. And, he looked at it, from my perspective, it sounds like, we're going to learn from this. Right.
Oh, I didn't learn. I keep doing it.
Well, that was my next question, Chris. Did it?
Yeah, it's the same every time. I'm going to make the same jokes every time, every day. But
my brother, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart.
No, don't go breaking my heart. I wouldn't if I tried. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
It really stuck with me that he did that because he didn't have to. He could have been, because he worked hard to get those gigs, man. And I don't know if you know, but those gigs out there at the lake are hard to get.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure every band in the tri-state area would love to play Buckeye Lake. I mean, those that are fortunate to do it. I played the smaller ones. But Papa Boo's and everything going on out there,
Yeah.
I don't want to single any of them out because there's some great venues at Buckeye Lake.
Right.
So yeah, Chris, hopefully you'll keep making mistakes and try to learn from them, man.
Oh, believe me, I will keep making mistakes. I don't know if I'll learn from them or not, but the fun is in the making of the mistakes.
Oh, man.
I got to tell you, I don't know how much time we have left, but I got to tell you, it's fun to me to dance on the razor's edge, to quote Bruce Dickinson. And there's nothing better than, I got a whole thing I want to get into about bands. I don't want to see an accountant in a 3-piece suit up there playing guitar. I have no interest in that. I want to see a dude with his balls out, assless chaps, and his pants on fire. That's what I want to see when I go see a band. And I see so many bands that are up there just standing there, stoic, playing the music. And you think that you're doing the music justice because you're playing it note for note, but you're not. You're not doing the music justice because it's fucking rock and roll, man. You gotta fucking kill it. You gotta be out there killing it every fucking day. And when I see them standing there and I see them doing the same 3 Journey songs over and over and over, and I'm sorry, but you're not, what's his name?
Steve Perry.
You're not Steve Perry. You're not Steve Perry. You might be close to Steve Perry, but you're not Steve Perry. So fucking pick a different song because you're not killing it. Like you're close to killing it, but you're not killing it, dude. I want to see something that makes me, if I see you on Saturday, I want to wake up Monday morning and I'm going to go, hey man, did you see that guy? And that brings me to Shuck and Bubba. Shuck and Bubba is my motherfucking jam. People.
That's a great time, man.
Yeah. Shuck and Bubba with Rick Soga and fucking Tony, the keyboard player.
Sadir.
And fucking Sadir.
Up front, baby.
Sadir kills it every night.
He does.
Rick kills it. You know, Rick kills it. He's up there. And I tried to adapt Rick's style. Like I was wearing a vest with a white shirt for a while. But I can't pull that off. I'm not Rick. I don't have the hair. I don't have the fucking presence. And Sadir gets up there and he kills it. And he's got the vanity box that's lighted. And he gets up there and he's like, I can't even do it. But it's killer, man. That is one of my favorite fucking bands. And people don't understand the impact that they have, you know? Killer every time.
I think a lot do, though, man. They do. They know.
Yeah, but
you go see it. How can you not?
Right. It's an exciting, energetic, infectious performance every time. I fucking love those guys, man.
Yep.
And I want to talk about a lot of bands. Pretty Filth. When I first met Pretty Filth, I saw them for the first time at what was it called? Before Harry Buffalo, Gordy's. Yep. Yes. I saw them
in Westerville.
Yeah, and I'm down front and I'm cheering them on and they're doing this stuff. Sorry, I don't mean to curse. And I yell out.
It's already got an E rating.
Right.
And it's not for everyone.
Right, not for everyone.
It's explicit.
Right. And I yell out and I go, show me your tits. And Josh looks at me and he says on the mic, I'm about to kick this dude's ass. He thought I was talking about his wife, but I wasn't. I was talking about him. It was so great, man. It was so great. That was the first time I met them, and we've been fast friends ever since.
Amazing.
That's great to hear. Because they're superhuman beings, man.
Right. I love them, man. I absolutely love them.
And the
now,
band's an experience.
Now my oldest friend in Columbus, Eric Cape, is playing guitar for them.
Oh, that's good to hear, too.
Yeah.
Eric.
Which brings me back to my first time on stage. Believe me if you will. Follow me along. So I work construction, and there was a guy who was a punch-out man for one of our builders, and his name is Dusty Beach. And he played bass in a band called White Raven. And White Raven was an 80s tribute band in the 90s. And they had Dusty Beach, Eric Cape, Brian. I can't remember Brian's last name. I apologize. The drummer was Chris Carnes, and the singer was. Anyway, the singer had a problem that week where he couldn't sing because he had a cold. So Dusty Beach asked me. He goes, "Hey man, if we do this song, can you sing it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So they go. He said, we're playing at, can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Some part.
Cool venue.
Yeah, cool venue. So he asked me to come up and play. So anyway, I go up there and I sing 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden. Mm-hmm. And I killed it. And everybody's high-fiving me and loving on me. And that right there was like the ticket that made me want to, I see you looking at it.
No, we're good.
The ticket that made me want to keep going, man.
Yeah.
Merry Melodies was what the bar was called. Merry Melodies
what city
on
was that?
Refugee,
On Refugee
Columbus
Road
on
in
Refugee.
Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah,
East Side.
yeah. So we do that and we kill it, and it just it planted the seed that made me want to do it.
That's the first time you sang.
I love
First time
that.
on stage
On
ever.
stage,
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that, Chris.
And
But,
what would be a better song than 2 Minutes to Midnight? You know,
dude, I can't think of one
For you.
It's the best. Okay.
right?
Love the story, man. And I appreciate the fact that you shared so much. We have a sense of you.
Can I put my shirt back on now?
I'm okay with that.
It's weird.
All right, man.
It's weird.
Episode number 47, Chris Keigley.
It's weird,
We
man.
wish you the best with your Beachin
Right?
project. Let's get a bass player
Right.
who's into what was described for Chris Keigley.
Right.
And I guarantee you he'll book some gigs.
Right.
And it'll be fun.
Right.
Episode
Let's go finish
47.
this tequila
Yeah.
or vodka.
I'll shake and pour, but I think I'm done. I got to work tomorrow. 47, episode 47, Chris Keigley.
More episodes than there are presidents of the United States of America.
Which is just amazing.
Right.
Within a year.
Right.
And we thank you for listening. Bye-bye.